Welcome to Wagons of Steel. It's a party and everyone's invited. Today I'm going to show you my race car in the off season before we actually start work on making it a running car again. It's been sitting around kind of half disassembled for a while. All you've been watching the video, I'm sure, have seen bits and pieces of it. It was in the trailer for a long time, and then I loaned my trailer to a friend, and now it's sitting in his yard with a car in it, which is fine. It's not really that exciting to look at in the yard, and I like to be useful to my friends. You know, trailer's like a mobile garage. It's a nice place to keep a race car dry in the wintertime or just when you're not racing it. So here's the car. I'm sure you're familiar with it. This is it's got the original dashboard because it's required to have all that. None of it has to work. It's got a steering wheel out of a 1970 Dodge Challenger RT, which I'm told is worth quite a bit of money, and I really wouldn't mind putting a removable steering wheel in it because it's hard to get in and out of this car. The older I get, the harder it is to get over this stupid roll bar here, and even harder than that when it's in the trailer. Bitch moan. Okay, here's the office furniture. Every car's got to have a good tack in it that tells you when to shift and what your RPMs are at. This one tells me when my oil pressure goes below 15, so I know to shut the engine off. This one is it's got a cover on it now. You take that off, and that's the shift light, which I don't really set my shift light. I should, but it's right in my face. I pretty much drive this car by feel. I can look up and see the tack and make changes. That guy out there's fuel pressure. It makes it that way I know that my fuel pump is on and the car is getting the fuel pressure it needs. We have here, this is my water temperature and the oil pressure. Those are the important ones. And then down here I have the distraction ones. This one here tells me the condition of my battery, and this one here tells me the temperature of my transmission. Both important numbers to know, but not so important you need to know why you're racing. And you can see I've got all these little switches all over the place. This is the transmission fan, cooler fan. This one, I turn this on and it tells me it fires up the volt gauge because I don't want it on all the time because it'll drain the battery. What's this guy here? Is that's the main power. And then this guy here is that turns on the fuel pump and the ignition, so I can when I want to turn the car on, I flip the key like that, and it turns the engine over no matter what's going on, and then hit that and it turns on. So I like to spin it over a little bit so the oil starts circulating around in the engine, and then hit that switch and fire it up. And then down here I have, this is the water pump, that's the fan, that's the headlights. I'm going to change all that. This has gotten out of line as far as I'm concerned. I want to put all the switches in one place. So I'm going to build a switch panel, or Mike is, one of us, or we'll both probably combine. Probably put it down here, someplace where I can reach it when I'm all belted in. There's the shifter. The max wedge engine, sometimes they like it when you retard the timing. So you change the ignition timing on the big end. So I have this thing. It's like when you hit that switch, when you go into thirds, it hits that switch. When I have it set up, I think it's not set up now because I found an RPM activated switch, so I don't need that thing anymore. So I probably should just take that off there. It's a cool switch, but then it's like a mystery switch. So I can tell people it's for detonation if I need it. This is the fuse box of doom. You can see it's got all kinds. It's actually all labeled. It's been worse, if you can believe that. Holy shit! Here's my ignition box, which was Dr. Big Block borrowed it for his car because I wasn't using it this season. We'll have to wire this back in. Dan sold me this bad boy. This was top of the line pro stock at one time. The MSD 70L3. It's a nice unit. Really nice. It's got all kinds of fantastic features. You know, MSD is a really good company. I just got to say that right here and now. I have their starter, their distributor, their ignition box. They're not cheap, but they're not really expensive either. And just a high quality product. You can get all their schematics online, so you know if you are confused with the track, you just go to your phone. These are new shock absorbers I got. Viking double adjustable for the back shocks. The front I'm just running competition engineering 9010s. Everybody told me get the really good shocks for the back, you won't regret it. So I did. I've taken 3 years off. Without the cost of racing, I've been able to spend money on some other stuff. Here, these roller coaster seats, not much fun. I have this. I put that like on my side. I put it there to get a little lumbar support because this car leaves so hard it hurts your back to have a bad seat. Here's my camera mount. It's been on there forever. See back there, I've got a set of headers that cost a freaking fortune when I got them, but I got them since 2005. So good headers, I think, are money well spent. They're coated inside and out, so they're not beautiful now, but they're still in tip-top shape. The transmission blanket is over there to keep the transmission out of the car where it belongs. Down there are my carburetors, which are, they look stock. They are, you know, I joke about it. The carburetors for a max wedge engine are one of the few items you can actually buy over the counter at the auto parts store. They're like, it's like what would come on a 1978 Dodge 360 or something like that. You know, it's a standard item, and I could actually just buy ones out of an auto parts store and put them on. And we checked it before. It's about 2/10 slower. So for, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000, you can pick up 2/10 by having some guy do the voodoo on your carburetor. Just in case you ever wanted to know how to spend a whole lot of money on something that doesn't even really look like much. Here's the engine compartment. My friend Paco Rollins hand painted all this stuff on here. Hi Paco, hope you're watching this. Paco's a really gifted tattoo artist. He makes tattoo equipment. For a while he dabbled in sign making. He does old school hand painted signs. And I do it too. And I could have done this car. But when you have somebody else do something like hand letter your car, it just looks fantastic. And when you do it yourself, all you see are the flaws. Human nature, I guess. Okay, here you can see, obviously the engine's not in the car. And it doesn't look really that bad, but I still want to totally wash it out. Some of this wiring is going to have to be changed. Some of it really isn't. I'll do the best I can to make it look neat. You can see some like sensors there for the water temperature and the transmission oil temperature. Here's where the fuel line comes up, and then this is the fuel regulator. There's the fuel pressure that you can look at when you're out messing with the car. You can see what your fuel pressure is. Stock Eliminator, you got to have this guy down here. It's like a little spigot, so you put your fuel check under there and you pour out a little fuel sample, like a pee sample, and they check it and make sure it's all legal beagle. Here's another redundant gauge. This is the volt gauge that we have for outside when you're in the engine compartment. It's always good to know whether your battery's in good shape or not. So then it's like you can, you know, it's not something else. It's not your ignition or whatever else is making you have slow starting or whatever. A couple years ago, they made aluminum radiators legal in Stock Eliminator, so I got one. It's you know, in a radiator, the thing that's heavy is the water. It's not the or the coolant. It's not the radiator itself. So you're not Out of the box, an aluminum radiator feels lighter than a copper one, but it's not really, once you fill it all up, it's not really a weight saving so much as it is just a better radiator. Here's my transmission cooler with a fan. We started running those a couple of years ago because, you know, we used to just, in the early days, I would just run a line outside the transmission and go out one hole and right back into the other one. So there's no cooler at all. It's just that used to be the way everybody did it. But then I lost a race because my transmission got too hot. And you want your transmission to be uniform temperature. That's a little secret squirrel thing for anybody who's racing a car. Not just stock Eliminator, but also just bracket racing. If you want your car to be consistent, you want to always have your transmission be pretty close to the same temperature. Let's go over some of these decals. All these guys down here, they're called contingency decals. And some of these are probably obsolete. You know, there's a section of the NHRA website where you can look up and see who's still paying. But for example, like here's Goodyear. I run Goodyear tires, so if I win or come in second in a race, they give me a clipboard and I check off Goodyear, and then Goodyear gets the notice, and then eventually they send me, I think last time I got contingency money, it was $300 for a win and $150 for a runner-up for most of these guys. So you can see why people put them on. And you look at the older cars, they're just covered with them. They used to all pay a lot more than they do now. After the 2008 recession, all of a sudden that money started to really dry up. There's Mopar. And then Vachon Auto Parts. They're all my friends, and they've been with Wagons of Steel since the beginning, since 1990 something, early 90s. Here's our friend Jim Isherwood. He died in 2016. He had a beautiful Hemi car. He was a really nice guy. Mark Lyle. He was an NHRA director. And here's Stepp, who was our head detail guy. He traveled with the team all the time. Miss him. Miss all these guys all the time. There's CSA. I'm going to be D stock automatics instead of C this year. So before I go to the track, I'll take the C off, put a D in there. There's Trucktown. That's Dave Barcelone, who's a great supporter of drag racing in the Northwest and a good friend. Hey Dave, hope you're watching this. There's Bryant Performance. That's Terry Malm. He's the guy who did all the machine work and a lot of the engine research. He's our new engine guy. Then this sticker you have to have on the car when you're running divisional races, and then that's just the NHRA sticker. These are a couple of series of races I ran. I could take those guys off. And this is kind of like the Hall of Fame here. You can see these are all my, how does this work? Okay, these guys and these guys are all my divisional contestant stickers. So they tell you what divisions I was racing in what years. This one, 2016, that was when we went to the Gator Nationals. And we raced the warm-up, they call it the Baby Gators, which is the divisional race right the weekend before the Nationals. And so that meant I was an official contestant of Division 2, so I got one of those stickers to put on the car. 2009 was our most ambitious year in stock Eliminator, and we did some races in Division 7, which is California, Arizona, Nevada. And so I raced in some divisionals down there, so I got that sticker then. And then you can see I am a Northwest guy. So this is all the Division 6 stickers I've had. And you can kind of get an idea of when I raced, like 2005, then I took 6 and 7 off. I can't remember why. There's something wrong with the car, of course. These things are, we make a joke that it's like a jet helicopter because they're so delicate and labor consuming, and you never know when you're just going to have to take a temporary vacation. Anyways, 2005 was the first year we raced stock Eliminator with this car, or stock Eliminator at all. And we've been pretty dedicated. We've been hacking away at it. And then here's the stickers for all of our national events. So a lot of Seattle's in there. There's the Gainesville. That's the longest distance we ever went to one. And they're almost all Seattle, but then there's Sonoma. That's a cool one. Phoenix was a great race. I really like Phoenix. And Pomona is always fun. That's in February, so it's a nice excuse to escape this weather. It starts to drive you crazy up here in the Northwest by then. There's my stock Eliminator number. And then I try to put stickers on from different tracks. There's Woodburn. Shout out to those guys. Woodburn rocks. There's Firebird. That's in Idaho. And then Mission, which is Mission, BC. And what else should I show here? Collector tethers. They make us put tethers on, which means that the collectors are the where all the header tubes merge into one tube, which would go into your exhaust system, or just one tube hanging out on a race car. And they started making us wire them together, and I make it easier on the inspectors by just putting that sticker up, and then they can look under. You know, it's on there, but it's, and then Firm Feel. If you ever need suspension parts for your Mopar, Firm Feel is the place to go. They have nothing but the good stuff, and they're really good guys. Here's my front runners. Those tires, I don't think have half a season on them. The wheels, I was actually the first guy on the West Coast to get those wheels. I don't know what I was thinking. I was drunk or whatever. I ordered them up. They cost like $1,200 for the wheels, and they custom made them for me. They're the first set in black out here. Now you see quite a few of them, and there's a bunch of different knockoffs, but those are mine. And to make sure to inspect those, they're delicate. All of a sudden you get cracks in them, and you know that could be a disaster. On my backs, I needed to get 10-inch wheels. I had 8-inch wide wheels before, but everybody says get the 10s because it actually makes the tire behave like a wider tire. And I got those from Summit Racing. Summit and Jags, they both make really cheap knockoff mags, which they're perfectly good for this. I painted them black. They practically match the ones in the front. And then those tires are brand new. I guess that's about all I got to show you on this thing for now. Yeah, thanks to Dr. Big Block for keeping it here and being the best crew chief in the business. And Steve Ryland for all his help, and my family, and all my friends, Vashon Auto Parts, Dave Barcelone, Trucktown. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff. And, oh yeah, thanks to all you guys who are watching this and subscribing and supporting Wagons of Steel, buying the t-shirts, all that stuff. I really appreciate it, and hope to see you out at the track soon. The next video will be up as soon as I think it's something good to make a video about. Maybe we'll be putting this car together. That'll be coming along one of these days. We'll get smoke out of it. Till then, take care, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, and keep them laughing.